Curse you, Red Baron. You all know who I mean, right? You all recognize him in Peanuts. It's Manfred von Richthofen, who was in fact killed on April 21st, back in 1918. And I find the whole mystique around the Red Baron really weird. Okay, he was an accomplished pilot. He's the top ace of World War I with 80 official kills. But he's only 75 ahead of the top French ace, whose name you can't recall. It was René Fonck. And then Canada's own Billy Bishop is at 72. Who's ever heard of Billy Bishop? And yet he was not just a great fighter pilot. He was on the right side. What is it about Richthofen that attracts so much admiration, so many books? Why are people so excited about the Red Baron? You wouldn't even think baron would be an attractive prospect in a democratic age. Besides which, he wasn't actually a baron. He was a Freiherr, which is a fairly common title and not nearly as exalted as baron. In Germany, he was more often known as Der Rote Kampfflieger. That was the name of his book written in 1917. He had a certain romantic dash. He painted his plane red. He scorned camouflage. He ordered a silver cup for every one of his aerial victories until Germany's silver shortage got so severe that he couldn't get silver, and he refused to get base metals. Okay, he was good at what he did, but what he was doing was killing on behalf of the Kaiser, which is a bad thing. And I don't see that he had an attractive personality. He was cold, he was distant, he was calculating. He had a brother, by the way, who was also an ace, Lothar. He had 40 kills, who was a much more daring fighter. But when you get right down to it, there's something fey about the Red Baron. This was a career that was going to end in early violent death. It wasn't going to turn into anything meaningful. Indeed, his brother did survive the war, but he died in a plane crash in 1922. There was an actress and her manager survived, crawled out of the wreckage dazed but otherwise unharmed. Why do we like the Red Baron so much? It's interesting. I want to give him as much credit as I can. He suffered a serious head injury in 1917, and while he was recuperating, he wrote the book, but he also may have been doing a little bit of thinking about the course of his life, because although he died less than a year after it appeared, he did repudiate it. He said it was too arrogant. I'm no longer that kind of person. But he's still admired as that kind of person. But not, I mean, what is there in his character that you could really value? How does this ripen into a family man, into a responsible citizen, into a role model? I don't see that it does. And one thing, by the way, we don't know who shot him down. He was actually engaged in aerial combat with 2 Canadians, but it's generally believed that he was killed by Australian ground-to-air fire, probably by a guy named Cedric Popkin. And I think that's a vindication of a democratic society, that the Red Baron is felled by Cedric Popkin, mate. But I think I'd much rather have Cedric Popkin around than Manfred von Richthofen. I don't understand the mystique. He's not an admirable character. Yeah, he was a good pilot, but that's not enough. Yeah, he was a romantic figure in a kind of self-destructive way. He died at 25, and if he'd outlived the war, he'd have had nothing to live for. So, yeah, the Red Baron was shot down. May he rest in peace, but let's not make a hero out of him.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.